Hello everyone and welcome back to Chapter Master. And yes, you are not mistaken as to what you are seeing on screen. And I know what you're thinking. Hang on, haven't you done like a million playthroughs of these guys already? Yes, but indulge me one more. Because I was thinking, so for my own custom chapter, the Storm Knights, I've gone through what they did in the 41st millennium leading up to the Great Rift. I've done what happened after they got Primaris Marines. Yet I never covered what they actually did when they were first founded, what they started out like. So, today we are going to just dive into a bit of the backstory of the Storm Knights. How they were founded, what they were originally up to, and some of the differences in their temperament between then and now. So, the Storm Knights are a fourth founding member of the Astartes. They were founded after the War of the Beast, and they are successors of the Angels of Redemption, a second founding chapter of the Dark Angels Legion. Now, they were founded by their chapter master, who we will go to in a bit, and they had a bit of a different upbringing than some of their other conventional chapters. So, to start out with, they are pretty under strength, because the Storm Knights basically were founded by about 90 members of the Angels of Absolution, who combined together to form the new chapter. And it took about 2 decades of red tape to get them officially recognised, and then it took the better class of a century for them to get even remotely up to fighting strength, and it took about 2 centuries to get them up to full codex compliance. So we're going to base this as to where they're just starting out to get recruitment again. Cooperation a little bit under par, but that was actually more to get so I could get all the advantages in rather than anything else. Of course, purity and stability maximum as benefiting Dark Angel successors. Fleet based, because while they have found and set up on Telenor at this point, it will take them about 3 centuries to build their fortress monastery. The Adeptus Mechanicus are pretty slow. So most of the time they're just cruising around on their battle barge kicking the shit out of Orks. Now, enemy Orks, that's to represent that the majority of the Storm Knights are veterans of the War of the Beast and have a huge hatred of the Orks. Lightning Warriors. Now, when the Storm Knights were first founded, their chapter master wasn't actually a member of the Inner Circle. He was told upon his induction to the new chapter. He was in fact a veteran sergeant, but because of the severe losses of the War of the Beast, he was basically just thrown into being a chapter master straight off the bat. Normally something that wouldn't happen, but there were so many losses from that war that, well, they need basically, you've got veteran experience. How long have you been here for? A week? Sure, you're fit enough to be a chapter master. That's their kind of logic. So, he was incredibly pissed off about finding about the Fallen and the fact that he was now stuck with this problem, especially since considering the Orks nearly destroyed the Imperium, yet the Dark Angels want them to run around and look for, isolated members of the Fallen, which he felt was stupid, and he spread that hatred to his enemies, which in turn spread to his warriors. So, a lot of rip and tear in the early days, kind of venting his frustrations out with the Dark Angels and the rest of the galaxy upon the Orks. And the Kings of Space, because, again, for the first, until their Fortress Monastery was set up, the Storm Knights basically conducted everything off their spaceships and ended up being quite adept at the use of void combat. Of course, fresh blood to represent their freshly new created chapter. Now, of course, Serenity's Wrath, their battle barge. Recruiting world is Telenor. As I said, at this stage they have found Telenor. However, they have not set up their Fortress Monastery on it. So, as of now, it's just a recruiting world while they get their shit together. Hunting the Hunter, because I think in the future they end up using apprenticeship, but for now, it's more trying to get numbers rather than worrying about if the numbers are highly well qualified. Of course, their armor scheme, of course, was actually created by the chapter master. He came up with that scheme himself. And of course the name, because he wanted to be the Knights of the Emperor, who bring the storm of the Emperor's wrath onto his foes. so hence the name Storm Knights. They were the Knights of the Storm, and that was kind of how he wanted to do it. So that's their colour scheme, which is the same colour scheme as the one I painted, except that's probably a bit higher quality. Of course, equalist distribution. Their followers are the Codex Astartes, so as you can see there, I'm not changing anything there. Actually, they do follow the Dark Angels terminology, so we will change it to Deathwing and Ravenwing, even though the Storm Knights are not fully set up to be hunting the Fallen at the moment. Also, oh yeah, that reminds me. Do we want to have the... We better have the hunting for the Fallen thing, which can at least boost the cooperation back up to where I wanted it to be. It's stupid and I hate it in terms of the gameplay, but it is fitting for the Storm Knights because, as I said, they have to hunt the Fallen because basically the Dark Angels are like, well, you're in this shit with us as well, and if you go down, or if we go down, you go down, sort of thing, so they're kind of stuck with it. Alright, of course no GNC deviations. Now, Varacral. No, it's Varacral. Yeah. Chapter Master Varacral, who was the first Chapter Master and first founder of the Storm Knights, once a veteran sergeant of 2nd Company Angels of Absolution. Of course, he's got his mastercrafted Thunder Hammer, and he's got a plasma pistol. Mastercrafted Thunder Hammer was actually a gift to him from this founding chapter, and the plasma pistol is actually his own personal plasma pistol from back when he was a sergeant. Of course, he's a champion because he was always a excellent duelist and skilled warrior, but now he's chapter master, and now he's having to deal with the Fallen and all of the shit of the Imperium. He is pretty pissed off, so he tends to take it out on a lot of the traitors. Alright. Pyphos. Interesting. So, why didn't they give me Telenor as the recruiting world? It exists in the game, because I put it in the game. If I find Telenor here on this map, I will be slightly annoyed. I think I've said this time and time again, but I actually put Telenor into this game. Back when they were suggesting world names for this game when it was still really early in alpha, I actually put about 20 names into this. A lot of them were obscure names from Imperial armor books and stuff I had around, but I threw Telenor in there as well for fun. Alright, so, the Storm Knights. Now, we are going to pretend, just for the sake of this, that Tyranids don't exist. These are just vile alien creatures that have used the advantage of the War of the Beasts to get a leech hold into the Imperium. Now, the Storm Knight's greatest threat, and the greatest threat to the Imperium, is the remnants of the Beasts' armies that have been sucking at the Imperium and causing a bit of damage, so we're going to have to kick their ass. Now, that is a fearsome looking set of armor. Very fancy. Now, first thing we need to do, we need to set our recruitment. We're going to go fast recruitment. And we're going to have everything else is slow. Alright. We're going to, of course, promote the appropriate warriors to the appropriate companies. Promote 2nd Company Apothecary. Yeah, they're on board the Serenity's Wrath. So, now the Storm Knights, I like to think the Storm Knights, especially in their early days while they're trying to deal with Orks, tend to group up into smaller detachments, but not small detachments, so they tend to go 2-3 companies strong. While Telenor is still being set up as the future recruiting world / chapter home world, they're not actually garrisoning warriors upon it. Hence, I'm not going to have any warriors aboard the homeworld at this current time. We are basically just going to have every warrior on hand to fight our battles. I like the fact there's only 10 suits of Terminator armor. I kind of think that's fitting for a new chapter. Oh, the first company's got Terminator armor and stuff as well. Fascinating. Alright. Yeah, I like to think low on chaplains. More because a lot of them are still being set up as interrogated chaplains. Right, I think we're going to transfer some of these guys over and get a bit of variation. Yeah. Alright, I hope you don't mind me indulging this micro-middle management stuff. Part of what Chapter Master's about, really. So anyway, back to the Storm Knights lore. So, the Storm Knights, as I said, they spent the first 20 years in limbo, basically while the Imperium sort of validated their claim to chapter status and everything like that. Then they took about another 90 years of recruitment before they were up to standard. There were only about 200 Marines after 90 years of rapid recruitment and, and gene-enhanced surgeries. They were basically just cranking Marines out at this point to try and, fight the Orks. And after that, they crusaded around. They were basically, even though there were 200 Marines and about 40 scouts at that point, they basically got fed up of hanging around, and the Chapter Master was getting more and more pissed off with the politics of the Dark Angels and, his new knowledge of the Fallen. So he basically just grabbed his chapter and said, fuck you guys, I'm going off to kill Orks. And that's what he did. And Telenor, as I said, is a feudal world, still Middle Ages era technology, except for the capital, which still has, modern Imperium enhanced technology. The rest of it was a bunch of feudal states all feuding with each other. But they came across Telenor actually under siege by Orks, and this was the first full engagement of the Storm Knights as a independent chapter, and they kicked the crap out of the Orks off the planet, and basically the Chapter Master Varrical invoked right by conquest, so claimed the world as his own. He found he was very impressed with the feudal world's actual, commitment to fighting back against the Orks, even though they were, a bunch of feudal worlders. They were still doing their best to fight against the Orks. So he invoked right by conquest and claimed the world for himself. Well, for the chapter. And that was how they ended up with Telenor. Which is actually pretty common. The Flesh Tearers ended up with Cretaceous by right by conquest. And there's a lot of chapters that actually claim recruitment worlds as under right by conquest. You kind of do need to go through a few legal loopholes, but, it is what it is. Right. Unload. Reload to Flame Royale. All of these guys have got jump packs. It's kind of impressive. Load to Flame Royale. Ninth Company. See, I kind of wish you could do this automatically, like, without having to unload and reload. It would be nice, because, shuttles do exist, don't they? Oh, these guys are on the Gladius. They're glitching out, aren't they? Yes, the other problem of trying to sort some of this out. Alright. All of you three guys on the board, the Serenity's Wrath. You need to go to the Star of the Emperor, which is a pretty badass name, except I'd expect it to be a friggin' battle barge or something rather than a strike cruiser. Star of the Emperor, you just expect a big mighty battleship. Alright. guys need to go on the Star of the Emperor as well. Star of the Emperor. Oh yes, Knife Company. We need what limited armor we have. Space for Furious. See, that's a Gladius class vessel. We might transfer these to First Company. Second, we may as well give it Second Company. And that way, Second Company can actually carry them rather than having to worry about this. Also, I like to think in early stages, Storm Knights were not as concerned about armor because, they were still getting, shipments in from Forge Worlds, and they didn't really have the necessary crew to man them all. So it was more of an issue of them trying to get Second Company's armor first, trying to stay afloat rather than worrying about armor so much. Requires 222 space, so we'll ditch the rhinos because I think we need the predators more. Good. Alright. And there's some tech marines. Are there tech marines scattered throughout the companies? Just so I know. I don't have to be paranoid about... Ah. Oh yeah, because those guys can't go anywhere, do they? But there are tech marines on the Star of the Emperor. Alright. So, I think as of Chapter Master's decision, he's going to take a few of the companies and escorts for himself. So we shall leave the Star of the Emperor. What do we reckon? The Star of the Emperor, the Mentor Flame, and the Flame Royale. Alright. Flame Royale, Star of the Emperor, Mentor Fable. And 4. The rest can go there, and these guys can go there. I think it kind of suits the Chapter Master, because at this point the Chapter Master, Barakel, is not as much concerned about running the chapter as he is about killing orcs to take out his frustration. The early days of the Storm Knights were very much beset by just constant conflict, and a lot of inattention as the chapter tried to work out its own identity for itself. Yeah, I think we're going to concentrate on killing as many orcs up north as we can. Because, as I said, Barakel is a veteran of the War of the Beast. He knows how dangerous the Greenskins can be if they get organized. So he's just going to go head first into combat and try and gut them as quickly as he can. Where are the orc worlds that are going to become a problem? Interesting. Alright. Now, we should probably set the chapter settings. I think the chapter master and the honor guard are actually going to be fighting alongside the assault marines and the terminators. Yes. And the tactical marines are going to fight up close. Going to be a bit more of a frontal assault philosophy. In attacking, the Storm Knights are going to not really puss out. Going to push their best foot forward. Alright. Yes. Defensive, well, the Storm Knights are not really the most defensive fighters at this current stage. Successors of the Dark Angels they may be, and while they do keep a lot of the Angels of Absolution, sort of more aggressive tactics for Dark Angel successors, they are still not amused by the galaxy around them. So, let's begin. So we've got 3 companies, no, basically 5 companies worth. Nice, assault marines. Alright. Now let's see how a conventional attack will work with the new lineup I've got. Not many armor, but it'll be interesting to see the guns. Nicely done. Now, I don't have melee enthusiasts or anything like that at the moment. Necron Tomb. Well, Necrons don't exist. The Imperium have told us so. The attitude originally to the Storm Knights of the Ecclesiarchy is indifference. As I said, they're a bit suspicious of their actions and attitudes. And they kind of, as I said, from the War of the Beast, they heard about the Ecclesiarch trying to, side with the freaking Orks. So they've always been a bit hesitant about the Ecclesiarchy in the early days. The Storm Knights, of course, respect the bonds, of Terra and Mars, for the Martian Mechanicum, but all successors, well, the Dark Angels themselves and their successors have always been a bit, shall we say, hesitant to the Dark Angel. Not hesitant to the Dark Angels, but hesitant to the Mechanicum. So, the Storm Knights, especially in this early stage, they're of course incredibly polite and respectful because they need all their war gear and weapons and equipment, and they need the Mechanicum's help in actually building their fortress monastery on Telenor. So, they're of course incredibly friendly. Going to denounce you freaking Orks. Up there, of course they are. Ah, I had a feeling that would be the Orc world that would start causing bastard issues. Anyway, launch a full-scale attack. Let's go. I should get some more weapons and equipment for them. Because the Storm Knights, they do follow the Codex Astartes in terms of weapons and basic tactics. A bit more so than the Dark Angels, because they don't have, especially early stage while they're just being created, they don't really have access to a lot of the more, Nephilim fighters or anything like that. Right. Of course we're going to bomb them. And we're going to bomb them. Nicely done. Right. Going to launch another bomb. Now I like to think these are like, well, Nephilim were all destroyed, but maybe Hrud, or a species that would require a more bombardy approach. Now, the Chapter Master. Let's try another conventional attack. I'd like to see how the Chapter Master, if he can actually get a few shots off this turn. Guess they didn't need to. Alright, well they certainly ripped and teared that planet to bits. Oh, we bombarded it! Here, therefore we blew up that artifact that was on it. Oh no, the artifact's here. Oh, well, I don't even know what I was worried about. Oh yeah, we can't because we bombarded this turn already. There's nothing there for us to worry about. Right. Now, we're off to kill Orks, which is something the Chapter Master takes very seriously. I guess we're not going to get them down any further than that, so time for a full-strength raid. Raiding is just so powerful. It's such a good ability. Ooh. It would appear we're suffering a few more because for raids we've got the Dreadnoughts up front because they tank, but without them the Assault Marines are basically just having to fight on their own. And 8th Company are getting a bit munted. Well, I think this is a time for a just suck it up and finish them off approach. And it's time for rest later. Just cut them down. Good. Now, I think 8th Company is there. Echidon. He was a lunar wolf, actually. So if we take the artifact, power armor, that's perfectly fine. Right, now we should probably go back and deal with those orcs next round. Alright. Jubal. Nothing there. Now the Storm Knights, as I said, the Chapter Master, Rarakel, is a veteran of the War of the Beast, and he knows how dangerous Orc fleets are. He was personal witness to one of the Orc attack moons that was fighting against his chapter, and he is rather, while normally aggressive in trying to deal with Orcs, he is very hesitant about Orc fleets because, as I said, the danger of the bloody Orc attack moons still rings in his mind as he watched a battle barge being frickin' obliterated in a single shot. So, he buys his time. And shows no mercy. Now, you might be thinking it's a bit cruel to bombard the Roma 2. Okay, so I'm guessing this is Lord Gilliman Fane, or Fane the master of the... No, he was Lord Gilliman. Yeah, Fane was technically Lord Gilliman during this time, so I'm guessing Fane's calling upon all available forces to lead a crusade against some more entrenched greenskins. So, I suppose it's only fitting that we call upon someone to aid them. All of his equipment was destroyed. See, the Mechanicum charges premium for this crap, so we kind of need to be careful about how we do things. I don't think Mark 8 armor actually existed back then. Force weapon. Do we have bolt pistols? We do. May as well buy a few more. And we'll buy another bolter for fun. Right. Man, when you pick new thing, your armory is certainly understocked. I like it. It's fitting, but it's also a bit bare bones. It's kind of good. I should definitely buy chain axes, although, is it thematic? Gameplay wise, it's bloody stupid not to buy chain axes over chain swords. But for thematic wise, I don't know what reason there would be for the Storm Knights to use chain axes at this point. I'd need to think about that. Boarding shields. That's fancy. Alright, so we need to go to our librarium. Re-equip. Mark 6 armor. Give him a bolt pistol. Give him force weapon. Psychic hood. That looks pretty metal. Alright, carrying on. So what else about the Storm Knights in their early inception? As I said, the Storm Knights mostly originally spent their time fighting Orks. It was quite a while before they'd ever actually encountered fighting... Ooh, SDC. We do have a Star of the Emperor. Before they actually encountered traitor marines in any capacity. However, of course, being trained as, under the Codex Astartes and all that, they were able to fight against the Black Crusades once they started coming out of the gate a bit more. However, in this early stage, they were basically just focused on killing Orks, and the Chapter Master was venting his frustrations out on Orks with the edge of his Thunderhammer. Which unfortunately was lost to the Chapter, along with Chapter Master Rarakel's death. Which hasn't happened yet, so we'll see if it happens in this playthrough, and then I will work it into the story. Armamentorium. Vehicles 8% discount. Alright. Now, 1-0. Nostromo. Again, I thought this was obliterated, but oh well. Right. We're going to be hunting orcs, my little friends. Connor. That was the name of Gilliman's father. Well, adoptive father, I should say. SDC. Nicely done. Right. Unload. Boosh. I like how, the Imperium's so obsessed with SDC fragments. It's kind of funny, like, the story of the 2 Imperial Guard scouts that managed to find an SDC for a new mono-bladed combat knife design, where ended up giving a planet each and made governor of it. And it's like, they're just a bloody pair of Imperial Guardsmen scouts. They have no leadership, of a planet. That's a bit of a stupid move. But it's just kind of like what the Imperium would do, You can't deny that it's not thematic. Jeez, once we kill the Orcs, what are the Storm Knights going to do? Oh, yes. 24 months. Alright, so we should probably send somebody over there to go to be part of that. Otherwise, we'll suffer a massive loyalty drop. And Lord Gilliman Thane will be slightly pissed off at us. So, Flame Royal, Space Ethereal, Audacious Axe, Strange Predator, Space of Ethereal. Is Flame Royale a strike cruiser? Flame Royale is a strike cruiser. Ice Baleful Artifact. I'm just trying to think of someone, if we could send maybe just like 20 Marines aboard a strike crew, a escort vessel. Space of Ethereal. You do have the space. We might send the Space of Ethereal and the Baleful Artificial aboard that one. Yes, I think that will be for the best. You Stalinvast. Right, well, Storm Knights need to go kill the last of these Orcs, because Varrical is not impressed with the existence of Orcs. Right, so Space Ethereal and Baleful Artificial. Everyone else can go that way. These guys can go to Roma. Now, event log. What turn is it currently? I'd love that if the Storm Knights fleet thing would piss off. Thank you. Event log. It's turn 47, and we are expected there in 24 months. So we can get there in time. That's fine. Alright. So yes, other interactions with the Storm Knights. Well, as I said, the Storm Knights, at this stage, they were interacted with, of course, the Dark Angels, the Angels of Absolution, the Angels of Vengeance. I like to think in canon that the Storm Knights have interactions with the Imperial Fists as part of one of, Thane's crusades against purging the remaining Orcs from the Imperium after the War of the Beast. And of course, fighting alongside the Imperial Fists means fighting alongside the Black Templars as well. So despite a young history, the Storm Knights have fought alongside some venerable first founding chapters. And it's kind of that one of those, one of your friends that everyone knows their name, but they just can't piece anything together that they've ever done or do. I like to think it's that type of history. So it's like the Storm Knights. Oh yes, I know them. We've served alongside them, haven't we? Yes we have. Oh, I don't remember anything else they've done. What are they doing? We should invite them round to the party next week. That sort of situation, I like to imagine. Now, there was an artifact here, wasn't there? Yes. I think the Chapter Master himself would be too grumpy to go get an artifact. So I think the first company captain and his command squad is probably what would be in order here. Right. Boosh. Bush. There really aren't too many orcs left. This is kind of an interesting playthrough. Oh yeah, I'm imagining the Mechanicum already know about this artifact. However, we shall politely ask if they are aware of its existence. Yeah, the Storm Knights just don't really care at this point. They're like, do you know this is here? Yes. Okay, whatever, assholes. Now, just a question. Oh, good, the company champion is wearing his Storm Shield plus 30 HP plus 8 armor. So he's got 48 armor class, and he's only armor with a sword. You know, what? Tommy is a bloody stupid name, but you know. Oh, nice. I like to think the Storm Knights kind of snuck that one out the ballpark. I'm thinking, right, that a power sword is kind of a inadequate weapon for a first company champion. So why don't we give him a chain fist, because it's far more metal, and 300 damn melee armor piercing plus the 20% melee bonus means he would be a pretty formidable force in close combat. I really need to get some more Terminator armor for these guys. So, power armor 17 armor class. Oh, that armor class thing I've got upped my armor defense value by 1. That's not bad at all. Did it work for the Chapter Master too? 36 armor class. Nice. I could use more of that in my life. Better armor ourselves against the Emperor's foes. And I know, you could armor yourself with contempt, or you could armor yourself with loyalty. Identified. Well, substituted for polished adamantium. Fine tubes of plates. Fine cloth that is unshearable. Now that sounds very fancy. I think the Chief Librarian will be equipping that. I think it was originally painted blue. What do you reckon, that artifact? It was originally painted blue, and the Storm Knights found it in a stasis vault and kind of just laid claim to it. Alright, and there those guys will stay. Now, what was that event log? Fleet embarks on crusade. Oh, good. Right, they are going to go assist Thane and the Imperial Fists. Or actually the Fist Exemplar, but we don't talk about that. And they're going to kick some ass. Right. Raid. Chapter Master is going to beat some assholes to death. Nice. Now, Chapter Master wants the last of these guys dead. As I said, Vivarico himself is basically a iron mountain of a warrior. He's a bit annoyed and, of course, seething with anger over the fallen and, his new place in the galaxy. But he's a stoic, steadfast warrior. Type of warrior who wouldn't retreat even if the situation was lost. And he's earned his victories with the end of his hammer. And that's earned the respect of the rest of his warriors. Of course, when he was first made Chapter Master, and when he first, before he was made Chapter Master, and back when he was named Angel of Absolution, the warrior, he was kind of a bit more jovial. a bit more light-hearted. However, that went out the window, so he kind of went a bit more grim afterwards. But most of the warriors who knew him back then have all, fallen or accepted his new sort of status. So a lot of the warriors only ever know him as a very stern, stoic warrior. Crap, this is going to be a shit fight. Let's... Haha, what the hell is that? Alright. That is bullshit. Right. I imagine the Chapter Master is going to be incredibly pissed about the Captain of 4th Company losing that one. He is going to kind of blame his lack of fleet know-how in terms for that one. Alright, after that defeat, that void defeat, the Chapter Master is going to reprimand the Captain of 4th Company and take command of the engagement himself. High-ranking ability. Accept. We shall grudgingly accept that. So, and we will send a strike cruiser with warriors over to deal with it. So, where the hell is this planet we're supposed to bloody deal with? Bloody Bellcaster 2. Orks, Imperial, Mordran, Crucius, Yalafar, Rauderin, Honoris, Flamkia, Sifka. Where is this planet? Beletham, Telescan, Grostis, Iconapt, Hammerfort. Where the bloody hell is... Oh, bloody hell. How many months do we have to deal with this shit? 23 months, so 2 years. Alright. We shall send a battered 8th company to go deal with it. Just that one and black or red. There we go, they can go deal with that. We should also get some... Well, not what I was hoping for, but that's alright. Bionics. 20. Right, 8th company. Cool. Alright, that should keep them happy. Meanwhile, these guys can go kick the crap out of these orcs. We're going to try and fight this. I didn't set anyone to be boarders. Bloody hell. Well, there goes all my escorts. Damn it, this would have been a crap shoot if I could able to have set them as boarders. Still, see, the concentrated fire and the sacrifice of the escorts from the Chapter Master ripped that Orc fleet apart. So, I think it was a calculated risk. Varrikel knew what was going to happen once, because he, of course, he had the engagement knowledge from the previous engagement when the 4th Company fled. So he knew exactly what type of fleet he was facing, and he knew to sacrifice his escorts would allow him to mobilize the heavier firepower to win the day. Not that he was happy about making that choice, but of course, as he's learning as the new Chapter Master, sometimes you have to make those sacrifices, because that's what being a Chapter Master is about. Not that he gains enjoyment from it, but it is just how it is at the end of the day. Nicely done. Crucius system is overrun by orcs? Where is Crucius? Oh, over there. I guess the Chapter Master's gonna go have to deal with those guys. Right. No time for subtlety with this one. Bomb the shit out of them. Also, we should have a check of our fancy new equipment. New power armor and a new bolter. Right. Inquisition. Thank you. The newly formed Ordo Malleus shall take that, because as those of you who know your history will know, the Ordo Malleus, well, the Inquisition was split into the Ordo Malleus and the Ordo Xenos after the War of the Beast, after they kept arguing over which was the greater threat to the Imperium. And old Cinderman... There we go. And old Cinderman was unfortunately killed off. Poor Cinderman. Although he had a pretty good life, you have to admit. I wonder how Kilo ends up dying. I know Garrow's going to die during this Siege of Terror. And I know that... Well, you know that all the cool characters are going to die. It's kind of sad, really. Well, of course the chapter's going to go investigate that. But I'm wondering how they'll die, because I won't spoil it, but I have actually read the... Well, read the synopsis for the latest Siege of Terror book. And let's just say Loken lives, but he doesn't die how I thought he would die, killing Horace Axelman. He doesn't end up doing that. And Garrow's still alive too. Although Indrid Ha, my favourite Black Shields, ends up getting killed by Abaddon. Rest in peace, Ha. It's not really a spoiler, because no one but me cares about him. Okay. Orks are coming in system. Well, that'll be fun for us to have to deal with. Right, they can go deal with that. Now, bloody Inquisition constantly wanting shit from me. Right, now it's Telcaster 1. First company, this is your problem. It seems about right. As soon as you bring overwhelming force, they bug it off. Right. So, we need to kill the Orks to our back before we can kill the Orks to our... now associated to our front. Oh yeah, how many neophytes have we got? Where is our recruitment? Alright, so we're gonna get some neophytes, but they're gonna take their ruddy time to get to us. I was just thinking you could probably pick them up on the way through with 8th Company. I had no able-bodied apothecary. Of course I had one apothecary, but I'm guessing he counted as part of the 42 slain. So where are they now? Right. Well, at least we got 2 escorts back, but they're pretty frickin' beat up, aren't they? Yeah, 9th Company is pretty munted. They've got lovely XP, but I didn't really want the lovely XP. Eh. Oh well, I guess 9th Company will have to reunite with 8th Company and do its thing. Alright. I'm also wondering, just as a thought, because I've been suffering a little bit more casualties in the Assault Marines department. I'm wondering if my boosted lightning, my lightning defense, or lightning warrior skill, which boosts my melee damage at the cost of my defense, has an effect on that. Because I've got damage resistance 58%, but melee attack 124%. And I'm fairly certain that if we go to just a scout, melee attack 122, range attack 122, 55. See, I'm still fairly certain. What's the first company guys got? 127, 138. Wondering how much of an effect that's having. The Chapter Master and Fairfax Company are going to kick the shit out of these guys in person. Well, that didn't last long. Alright, and I think I shall end that there for today, because it's actually only 4 minutes before I'm due to start cooking dinner. We're having lamb steak for dinner. So yeah, this was just kind of my indulgence of explaining how the Storm Knights came to be, and kind of dragging you guys along for the ride. Don't worry, I'll get back to doing tutorials and all the stuff you'd actually like to see at some point in the future. But for now, on behalf of the new fledgling Storm Knights, I shall bid you all farewell.